Hello there, this is Oscar, giving a little bit of a pre-podcast message before the actual episode. I'm currently recording this bit of audio 3 days after I recorded the podcast itself. And what you're about to watch or listen to is an episode of And We're Rolling where it's just me watching a video of me from over a year ago. Talking about my experience of loneliness. I briefly said it at the start, but I want to elaborate a little bit more. So, just give more context of it. I want this to be almost a podcast episode that promotes more discussion about loneliness, and I think especially within the time that we're at now, where we're all isolating, we're all in quarantine right now. It's all quite a lonely time. And I think that the conversation needs to be brought back up. And that's why I want this to be. I kind of want this to be a jumping off point to promote a safe conversation. Just to have, some sort of conversation about it again and get it discussed again. Because I haven't really been doing that as well, and I like the video that I'm about to watch. I made that video for me specifically, and if anyone got anything out of it, then that's great. And it's a similar thing with this episode of And We're Rolling. I've made this video more so for me. However, I kind of hope whoever watches or listens to this that they can get something out of it. So yeah, and I'll leave it to me now from 3 days ago to discuss the rest of the podcast. So enjoy that. Is that... Yep, okay, and we're rolling. Just there you go, sync clap. Hello there. This might be episode 3 of And We're Rolling. I say might be episode 3 because I'm not sure if this is even going to get uploaded. But if it is uploaded and you're watching / listening to this, then it's episode 3 of And We're Rolling. And this is just me. This is a podcast that's literally just me. I've got something on the side though. Basically, here's a bit of explanation. Over a year ago, specifically, if you're looking at the screen, no, it doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. Specifically, March 9th, 2019, I uploaded a video to my YouTube channel, which you can check out on this YouTube channel if you're watching the video, called Loneliness, My Experience. And it was a video that I made when at the time I kind of recently decided to just, as the video title says, talk about my experience with loneliness. And I found it quite a cathartic video and quite an important video for me to make. I'm not saying in the grand scheme of things it was necessarily important, but to me it was to talk about loneliness and specifically my own experience of loneliness. And I thought it would be an interesting thing, especially within the current climate of the world right now. We're all isolating, and we're all quite, I don't know, probably say there's, it's a lonely time for everyone, even if you're living with people in your house, even if you're in a household with other people. It's still generally a lonely atmosphere. So I thought it would. I wanted to do this anyway. I wanted to at one point look back at this video that I made over a year ago now. Because what's the date? It's the 12th of May as I'm recording this right now. 9th of March 2019 this was uploaded. So that would mean it would be you're seeing me do some maths now. A year and 2 months. A year and a year, 1 year, 2 months, and 3 days since I uploaded this video to my channel. So I thought that it would be an interesting experience for me to look back at this video. If I have any more points to make, then I'll make it. But I'm kind of looking at this now because thinking to myself that like I kind of want to look back at it to see what I was like then, what I had to say about then, see if anything that any perception is to see if any perceptions have changed since making this video, because this was pretty fresh after I decided to talk about my loneliness. And of course now I've had time to just kind of like have it hit the microphone there, have time to just kind of make it, let it settle in my mind. And yeah, I haven't watched this video since I edited it, if I'm being perfectly honest. I'm so sorry, I keep hitting the microphone. I honestly haven't watched this video since I uploaded it to the YouTube channel. Because why would I casually watch this video again? Oh God, never mind. Don't worry about it. Apart from this reason now, because I think, again, within the time period that we're all in right now, I think that this would be a good time to look back at it. And maybe people who haven't seen this, I'm not saying like watch my videos, but what I am saying is that, like, I don't know, it might be a message that it's a message that might ring home true to people. If it's not that good, I'm just going to not even upload this video. But again, if you're watching or listening to this, then clearly I thought it was good enough. Yeah, even though I'm watching a video, I still think it's fine to, like, if you're purely listening to this through Spotify or any other podcast sites, I think that you would be fine to just listen to this as well. But of course, if you want to watch it to see what I looked like over a year ago, then you can do that as well. The video has 73 views. It's kind of mental to me that it has that much on my channel. Kind of crazy. I specifically said as well, I didn't even make the video for views. I made it just for me to do. And that's what this is as well. For me to look back at this. For me personally to look back at this. So what I'll say is, I've made myself a cuppa. Let's have a cozy time watching me talk about loneliness. But I also want this to be kind of a healthy discussion jumping off point for people. I want this to be a thing of, like, not to really be afraid of, like, talking about it, because it went through a phase of getting talked about, and then it's kind of what I've noticed, it's kind of went back to not many people when talking about it again. So anyway, I'm rambling as I do, and let's watch the video of me talking about my loneliness. And let's go. It's loud.
Right then.
Oh God, my hair, my beard, my nails. Yeah.
Hello there, everybody. I am Oscar W. Fitchett, and
I know it's an early pause to have right now, but I am going to say I think I remember a lot of this. A lot of the beginning of this is me just talking about my actual experience, in a sense. So there might not be a lot of me pausing and talking about what I have said, but yeah. Anyway, I'm not gonna. what was the point of me pausing there? Doesn't matter. Let's keep going. As if I painted my nails. I mean, I was considering doing that again. Do I look good with painted nails? I don't know.
As you can tell by the title of this video, the title is Loneliness, My Experience, and yeah, this video is going to be myself talking about my experience with loneliness. Now, before I get fully into the video and talking about things, I'm going to try to not cut anything from this video. To make it, just more authentic or something. So the flow might not be there, but this is, this is me. This is done more so for me to tell people, and hopefully this might end up helping some people.
It's kind of interesting looking back at that, hearing me talk there about why I chose to do this video in this way. By the way, just to warn people, this is a 40-minute video, so yeah. But me talking about doing the video in that sense is kind of the precursor to this show. And again, I didn't really intend for it to be that way. I just kind of did this show in a way that I thought of doing this show, how I'm doing it now. And in terms of doing this video for loneliness, I knew I didn't want it to be this big flashy thing. I didn't want it to be that's why I didn't put it on the Heel Pictures channel as well, because I didn't want it to be like with the Heel Pictures intro logo. I didn't want a title card below me saying Oscar W. Fitchett, here's my Twitter handle. I didn't want anything like that, or any cuts or anything like that, because then it wouldn't be authentic. I wouldn't be speaking, you wouldn't be seeing how I'm actually feeling. All you would be seeing is kind of just this this edited version of how I want to be perceived, which is not at all why is this microphone being an absolute... There you go, okay. But yeah, I knew that fine well of like, that's how I wanted that to be the case. Because I think it's not an entertaining watch to watch an uncut 40-minute video of someone talking about their loneliness, but it's also, to me personally, it's more of an authentic thing. It's more of an actual, you're actually hearing someone speak about something that they personally have an experience with, as opposed to, as opposed to like someone just purely making a video to get some views, which is what I feel like it would have turned out to be if I did loads of edits and jump cuts. Yeah, so it's interesting to see I did this video. In a sense, this is almost episode 1 of And We're Rolling, but it's not And We're Rolling, and it's poor audio quality, because I didn't have this bad boy right here. But yeah, anyway, let's continue.
And excuse me if you hear anything out there. I've got the window slightly open near some train tracks, so you might hear some trains going by. But yeah, so I'm just going to get right into it then now. Train and all. So yeah, basically for about 5 years now, I've been dealing with loneliness. It took me a while to actually realise that this was the feeling that I was feeling, but yeah, that's basically what it is. So 5 years ago, in 2014, I made the decision to quit university, having only been in university for 4 months. I'm 23 right now. I'll be 24 this June. That means I was born in 1995. And the fact that when I left university, this has been the first time in my life since I was like a toddler that I had not been in any form of education. I technically started education in 1999 when I was so 20 years ago, when I was in nursery, so I would have been 4, and I was in primary school till I was 11, so for 7 years I was in primary school. I went directly from primary school to secondary school, and I was there until I was 16, so I was in secondary school for 5 years, and then right after secondary school I went directly to college for 2 years. So I was there from 16 to 18, and then directly after college I made the decision to go right to university, and I was only there for 4 months. I left about like early January. I chose to leave early January because at the time I didn't feel like university was right for me at the time. I wasn't ready with the amount of stuff that I would have to be doing for university when I was 18. So I stepped away.
Fun fact within that, because I am in university now, I've went back to university, and I coming up to, I don't know, I forgot how many months it's been now since I've been in a uni. In my now run of university. It's still, the workload's actually, it's manageable now. It is, but it's still rough. But as I said, it is manageable. I don't know what the point I was trying to make is. I'd literally just pause to say uni work is hard. The story's not even about me leaving uni. I'm so sorry. Back to me from over a year ago.
From education. And this was the first time this happened. So for the first time in my life, really, I didn't have to worry about deadlines. I didn't worry about getting up early to go into anywhere. I didn't have to worry about I need to worry about writing. I need to do it. I didn't have to worry about any of that. So thus, I guess, as a result, I didn't end up seeing many people on a day-to-day basis. Because when you're in school, you're going in for 5 days, and you're going in and you're interacting with loads of people, and then you go home, and then you just want home to be absolutely alone time. Like, I just want to chill. I want to play on my Xbox or PlayStation or whatever. But in early 2014, I left university. I still had friends. I had 3 very good friends.
That's the point I remember that I was about to make earlier. That starting off there, I said that the fact how it's like I left uni and that was the first time I didn't have deadlines to worry about. I didn't have doing writing or anything like that to worry about, or getting up early or going places at the most. And even now, right at the moment, I'm not going anywhere. Don't have any place to really go at the minute because, again, we're in quarantine and isolation and all that. But even now, even before isolation, even before quarantine, even then, when I did have, and I do have deadlines to worry about, and I do have writing and all that to worry about, the feeling still creeps up on you. It's a feeling that is still present every now and then. I won't ruin the rest of the video. I'll kind of let this mostly play out, and I'll pause if I do have anything to say, truly. And yeah, and I'll let it play through.
At the time. And within 2014, I used my time basically to fully devote myself to Heel Pictures and the YouTube channel. And if you go on to Heel Pictures and you go to the year 2014, you'll see that there was like loads of stuff on there. That's kind of the golden years, I guess you can say, for Heel Pictures.
I would agree.
We reviewed loads of films. That was the year that VHS Pirate Season 1 was made and released. There was a lot happening there because I had all this time to do so.
Even when I did have all that time, I look back and I think to myself that I feel like I could have done more. I don't know. I feel like I could have done a lot more, and I was pumping out loads of reviews then as well. Man. But yeah, a lot did get done, but it's weird how I feel like I could have done more with that time. Interesting.
And yeah, and so I had 2014 to myself, which also means I had loads of time with myself and my own thoughts and my own mind. And since I didn't have to think about work or anything, I just had my thoughts. And sometimes I would force myself to think about Heel Pictures and, well, do this then, do this. Make a daft short film, review a film. But I also had but since those weren't really necessary or didn't like have much work to them, I just had a lot of time just to think to myself and just think, just stay with my own thoughts, and I would think about just generally the situation I was in at the time.
Me saying there that I didn't have much of anything to think about, so I would try to make myself think about Heel Pictures and stuff. I'm like that now with work sometimes as well, with uni. And it's interesting because it's weird because there, it doesn't register that that's me. I think it's because my appearance has changed since then as well. It just doesn't feel like me. But anyway, me then is saying that because with Heel Picture stuff and doing short films and that, and YouTube wasn't really consequential or it wasn't really important stuff. So I had a lot more time just with my thoughts. It's interesting because even now, and I'm doing university, and I am, and I've got stuff on my mind that is important. It's important work that I'm doing for advancing of myself. I still somehow have time to just be. It's to literally only have my thoughts to myself. It's weird that, because I can tell I was preparing to go to university at this point. I probably was thinking at this time that once I get to uni, I won't have that issue again. But I still do. I still do have that where even when I feel like I don't have enough time to just be with my thoughts, I still somehow do. Yeah.
Nothing really too much happened in 2014 in terms of emotionally or anything. Within 2015, two of my close friends were within a relationship. One of them had already been, or one of them had it was whatever. Another friend of mine who was within a relationship,
I don't even know what point I was trying to make there. The other one was one of them was, you know, whatever. I can't even think, so I can't even help you all with that. I think the point I was trying to make was they were in a long-term relationship, or they were like in a just a relationship. I can't even think.
Felt the need to remind me about the fact that I wasn't in a relationship. I'm only just kind of putting these pieces together now. This is probably whatever. I'm talking whatever. Myself and another friend within
I haven't changed. I still stumble.
this group as well, you know, weren't in a relationship. But one friend who was in a relationship felt the need to to remind me of the fact that they were in a relationship. I was not. Didn't think too much of it. And around about mid-April time, 2015, that's when I started being aware of these. That's when I started being aware of emotions I started having, and the only way I could describe these feelings were emptiness, darkness, pain, but not chest pain, like emotional pain. And the when I think about these emotions and feelings,
Yeah, I would say it feels almost like just adding to that feeling there. It is almost like a lump in your chest. You know how sometimes you get like a lump in your throat, and it's almost like a lump in your chest. That's how that's how I remember it feeling. Remember it feeling. It still pops up. What am I even on about? Don't think it's bad. I don't get to it anyway. Never mind.
I had. How I remember them was like, it was like this big, it's just black, it's like this big black void, and it's not claustrophobic. In fact, it was the opposite of claustrophobia. It was like, there's so much, it was just endless space, but it was all black, and there was no light, there was no top. The only light that I remember thinking about this was me. And it wasn't like there was a spotlight on me. It was just the only thing visible in this time was me and my thoughts. I'm drinking green tea, by the way, in case you're wondering. Like, that's what this is.
I'm drinking Assam tea right now.
Yeah, and that kind of started happening in...
By the way, if I chip in sometimes with a bit of jokes or lightheartedness, I'm not making fun. It's weird to say. I'm not making fun of me. Of course, I'm not. I'm not making fun of the subject at all. It's a bit of levity. It's a bit of levity in this because, yeah, it's certainly was a period of time for me. Yeah, but anyway, that's
in April 2015 time. And it would be times when I would be really just sad, just sadness, and I kind of at the time I just put it down to are these feelings? Because I thought I would either put these emotions down to either I was getting stressed about VHS Pirates Season 2, because this was around about the time when we were trying to start making VHS Pirates Season 2. So I either put it down to VHS Pirates stress, or I was just sad that I didn't have a girlfriend, if I'm being perfectly honest. That's why I just put the emotions down to at the time. And about a month later, I confided with a friend about how I've been feeling, and again, I just thought it was simply a thing of like, oh, I'm sad I'm not in a relationship. And at that moment in time, I had this one friend who I was incredibly close with, and I would confide in them with all my emotions and feelings towards the situation. And I kind of thought about this scenario as like, oh, this is kind of like, I'm getting through this now. Like, okay then. Yeah, just that really. And these feelings would kind of have a dip, like, would dip and all that stuff, and then show its face again, then dip, then bury itself again. And then about January time, 2016, I kind of realised to myself that, like, the word that this emotion is loneliness. And for ages, I pushed that to one side. I was like, it's not loneliness. I'm not lonely. I have friends. I have plenty of friends. I have family who love me. I'm not lonely. I've got people around me. I talk to not loads of people. I talk to plenty of people. I'm not lonely. And in January 2016, so a bit over 3 years ago now, Jesus Christ, 3 years ago, it's mental. I realised that, like, oh, loneliness isn't, there's a difference between being alone and lonely. Alone is the physical thing of, like, like, right now, I'm alone in this room. It's literally me and the camera right now in this room. That's alone. And alone time's good. I like alone time. I sometimes like just being alone in my room, on the couch, watching a film. I like being alone. But lonely is an emotion that you have. You can feel loneliness around a group of people. And that would happen.
And I think that's where a lot of people just trying to collect my thoughts there. I think that's where a lot of people do find it difficult to realize what they are feeling. And because I do think there's probably a lot of people out there who don't know, who have these, like, feelings, these, like, this emptiness and this, like, lump in the chest type of feeling that I've been talking about. That, and they're not saying loneliness. They're not saying loneliness because they don't think that they are. Like, it's a scary word. It really is. It's a terrifying word, and it's something that you just kind of don't want to deal with, because it's like, that's a scary thing to feel like you are lonely. However, I do think once you put all, like, the jigsaw pieces together, and you take a step back and you look at it, and then you realize, and you put everything into perspective, and you think that, like, oh no, yeah, that is the word. That is what this is. It feels like you've got things more sorted, and you're like, right, okay, I feel a bit more, to me at least, I remember feeling a bit more in control about the situation when I kind of realized that was when I realized that's the word, that's the feeling. Yeah.
And it would happen. It would. I would be out walking with 4 other people who I considered friends, who were friends of mine. Be out walking with people, and I would just feel so isolated, and I would just feel so, for the lack of a better word, lonely.
Yeah, that's a thing I still get. I will say, I will admit that that's a thing as well, and it does still crop up. It's not as, I think it's manageable because I know exactly what it is, and I know that it will just pass over me. Um, but no, it's still a thing that creeps up. Not often, but it does creep up. And that's another thing. Some people, if they're around a group of people, and they sometimes do just feel sad, and they don't know why. Like, nothing realistically bad has happened, but it is. But it's just happens. Something just happens. It's just a feeling. And I didn't say it in here. I don't think. I mean, watch. I'm going to say this now, and then I'm going to say what I'm about to say. But in that instance, I remember a specific time of, it was me and three other people, and we were walking, and I was just kind of lingering to the side and not really socializing because I just felt a bit melancholic. And my friend, who I mentioned, I think there, who knew about this, who I was confiding with about these emotions that I was feeling, they noticed, they saw, and they were like, "Yeah, something's up with him." And then that person said to the other two to walk on ahead, and we'll catch up. And that person, and as the other two people walked on ahead, that person who said that went to me and walked next to me and was like, and said to me, "Okay, what's up? What are you thinking?" He didn't say what's up because they knew what was up, but a person said, "Okay, what are you thinking?" And that's the thing as well, because it's not even a thing where I remember. It's not even a thing where if you if you start feeling lonely in a group of people, the last thing you really want is to be alone. The last thing you want is to be by yourself, really. You want to be amongst people, but you don't feel like you're clicking. You don't feel like you're involved with with socializing. And it's frustrating because it's not like you want to be distant. You want to be closer. You want to be with them. But it's almost even sadder when you are not feeling right in that moment. And it's almost better to like have one person almost take you to one side and also say, and just even just one person, because I do think it's quite a daunting task to almost, if you do feel lonely within a group of people and you just want to try to talk about this, because that's what I usually want to do. I usually want to talk about how I'm feeling at the time. I want to talk about like, this sucks and I don't know what it is, but I just need to like let it out. I just need to let it out. It's daunting to talk to loads of people. It's almost like you need just one person in that group to be like, "Hey, I need to talk with you right now because I'm feeling this. This is how I'm feeling." And just them listening and them respond. It's not even, you don't even necessarily need a response. You just need someone to listen. And obviously a response, you kind of want someone to say something, but you don't need anything like really life affirming. You just kind of need someone to just hear what you're saying and just kind of offer what whatever comes to their mind, and then just like, all right, you okay? Or like, not even you're okay, just like, how are you feeling now? And usually at this time when during this walk, I talked a bit, and then the person went, my friend went, should we catch up with them? Like after we had a bit of a laugh, we had a bit of a chuckle about something. Levity was there now. And then he went, okay, then let's catch up with the other two. I was like, okay then. And then I'm back in the group. And then you're back in the groove with it. And yeah, that's important, I think. I see, if I say that here, I can't remember if I do or not.
And again, for the longest time, I just like kind of chopped it up to like, you know, I'm just sad that I don't have, and that I'm not in a relationship.
I didn't say what I did. That's the thing as well. Because I'm still. This was actually. No, never mind. I am not in a relationship right now. And I'm aware that, and it does kind of help that I know that isn't why I still get certain feelings of loneliness. It does help that thinking that way, because it is a thing. Some people do feel sad and lonely because they're not in a relationship. And I'm not talking about this from experience or anything, but I do think there is scenarios where people get in relationships thinking that people thinking that that's what's going to cure their loneliness, and then they still feel sad in a relationship. Like, it happens, and you kind of need to know that you don't need someone to you don't need to be in a romantic relationship to feel like that's gonna take away your loneliness, because it will help for a few months. It will help. But you also need to know that that's not going to take it away forever. It just won't. It just won't. Yeah.
And then about later 2016, this person that I confided in left my life, but then another person came into my life, and I essentially confided with this person and only like really like talked to this person about how I was feeling, my emotions and all this stuff. And again, at that time I felt like, okay, I'm not lonely anymore. I got in a good state of my life. I was like, okay, I'm not lonely anymore. I'm fine. But then every now and then that would kind of the feeling would rear its head back. And I wouldn't know, like, okay, no, that can't be right. That can't be right. And I would just, this again, and every now and then I would just have this just dark, empty feeling within me. And there would be times, especially within 2015 and even 2016, where I would get so overwhelmed with this feeling that I would end up just crouching in the middle of the floor and just crying. because I didn't know what to do about it. And, you know, this feeling, there's nothing that like really like happened as such to like really make this happen. All this was kind of like, I would say, just a big progression. And I would say probably about a month ago now.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's never a case, at least as far as I'm aware, there's never a case of where one particular thing happens and that's it. Then it's like, oh, that happened. Now I'm lonely. It's never like that. It is an accumulation of many different things. And I can't even pinpoint, like, even now when having all this time to think about it all and thinking about my experience of it all, I can't even say when I think it started or where I think it even, or what I think even caused it. I remember a time before feeling lonely, and I remember a time feeling lonely. The time, you know what? I reached my 20s, and then that's when loneliness came into it. I'm kind of just realizing it now that that's kind of what it is. I became, because now I am back in uni. I am. So it's not even like I'm out of education and then I felt lonely. It's I'm out of education and I then became 20. I entered my 20s. Because even going into, yeah, because when was it? I said April 2014. I said April 2014 is when I started getting these, like, getting the lonely feelings, getting the feelings in the chest. And that would have been 2 months before I turned 20. I don't know if it was necessarily a subconscious thing of thinking to myself, my teenage years are up now and I'm entering my 20s. Because I think, yeah, because ever since I turned 20, that's when I started thinking to myself about my life, and I start actually legitimately I start getting paranoid about failure, about not being able to achieve what I want to achieve in life. And it is because that's probably what it was, because I remember being 17 and thinking to myself that, like, right, I'm going to be a film director, and when I'm in my 20s I'm going to start doing all this stuff. I'm going to be in the industry. And I do remember thinking to myself, that's like when I'm like 25. I do remember thinking when I was like 17, 18, mainly 18, I think. When I was like, and when I'm 25, that's when I'll probably be on my way to making some professionally done short films. I might be submitting stuff to festivals by then. Yeah, the sky's the limit in my 20s. And here I am, less than a month away from being 25. And I'm back in university and I'm still not in that place. And now my goals have kind of changed. I do feel like my goals have changed slightly. But I do, like, if anyone asks me like what my biggest fear is, for a while I said drowning. And drowning is terrifying. But I think overall my biggest fear in life is failure. I'm terrified of failing in any aspect. I think that's why for the longest time when I was younger, I didn't play video games, because I was scared of the chance of constantly failing the game. And I do remember being younger And if I played multiplayer games and if I lost a game, I would get really angry and really upset. And it's so unreasonable. And I think even at the time I realized it was unreasonable because I wasn't an aggressive child. I wasn't, but like I was a quiet kid. But I remember even with friends that I'm quiet. Like I could mess around with my friends, but even my friends said I was like little timid, quiet Oscar. Even if I was playing like, I don't know, Tekken with some friends, or if I was playing the Buzz video game, and I would lose, I would get really angry. Wow, yeah, I guess I am scared of. I think that's where it is. I'm terrified of failure, and I don't know where that comes from either. I can't even tell you because I didn't. I never once got it beaten into me like mentally. I mean, I don't mean physically. I didn't get beaten physically at all, either. But I didn't even get beaten mentally as well. About like you need to get good grades. You need to get good grades. I never even had that. I was always raised with the thought of like with the instructions of do the best you can do. That's all you can do is your best. And I was always aware of that. But throughout my entire life, I always wanted to really achieve so much. But I was terrified of failure. So that's why I didn't really do it. I think that's why I stopped doing so many things. Because I used to do taekwondo and I stopped. And I say the excuses like I lost interest in it. But I think it was because I was scared of not being good at it. So I just stopped. And there's a lot of there's a lot of things that I just stopped because I wasn't good at it initially and I felt ashamed and embarrassed that I wasn't good at it and I was failing at it. And I didn't want any more chance of failing at something, so I just stopped doing it. Whereas now, like that's why it took me so long to ride a bike. I learned to ride a bike when I was 21. I think it was 21 when I finally learned how to ride a bike. But I tried when I was younger as well, when I was a kid, and I just felt terrified. And it's not even a falling because I've fallen before. I fall and I scuff my knee and I just get up. I've always been that kid. If I just fall, I get up. It's never the fall. It's never the actual physical pain of falling down that is the most like hurtful for me. It's the embarrassment that I fell down to begin with. And I think probably it got to a point where I subconsciously started getting worried about entering my 20s because I realized, right, no, now I'm good. Now I'm actually an adult. Now I'm in my 20s. Now life is happened. Life is going to happen now. And I think I was probably subconsciously terrified of that. Terrified of failing my 20s. I think I still am now as well. I'm terrified at failing my 20s. Wow. Wow. Yeah, and I think the lonely feeling in there is merged into there of just almost feeling kind of scared about it, almost like judging my own life, like judging myself almost maybe. Of like of just feeling empty and distant from people. Is it even loneliness that I'm feeling? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes.
Um, I kind of just had a bit of a meltdown and a breakdown, and I just felt awful. I was like, there's no one. I don't feel like anyone's there. I don't have anyone there for me. I feel like I only have this one person. I thought that would all be all I need, but it's clearly not. I don't know what to do, and I just wouldn't talk to people. I wouldn't tell people about it because I thought, well, why would people want to know that? I don't want to be a burden. I don't want to be a nuisance. I don't want to just like be. I don't want to be the guy that people go, "Eesh, that Oscar there, he's a bit much, isn't he?" I don't want to be that, so I just didn't talk about it.
That's still the case. I still don't want to. Sorry, there. Drop something. I still don't want to be that. I still don't want to be like a burden. I still don't want to be someone that is rough on. Like people go, Jesus Christ. That's why there's going to be people now that this is clicking with now. People go, wait, oh, is that? There's times when people go, if some people go, you okay, Oscar? And I kind of go, yeah. And then some people go, oh, good, good. And fun fact, I'm not. I'm not fine. If you ask me, am I fine? And I go, yeah. Like I kind of go, yeah. Like I half-assedly say, yeah. I'm not. I just don't want to be a nuisance to you. That's what that is. There's been a few times that I've within the past year that I have said to people that like I just kind of feel I say I'm feeling I've been feeling a bit sad. That's what I say to people. That's why I have said to people, and I say it to friends. Not in a group. Again, that's what it is. Groups are terrifying. If you feel lonely, groups are terrifying. One or two people is where that feels safe to start talking about it, I think. When you're in that state, like now, I'm fine to talk to people about it if they are. Like if there's a group right now, if social distancing wasn't a thing and there's a group of people here and I'm with a group of people and then they go, Oscar, what's your feeling of like lonely? Like, what's that like? What's that loneliness feeling like? I would answer any questions you have. But when I'm in that mode of just feeling sad and melancholy, yeah, I'm probably just going to say, oh no, it's, whatever. And then I'll just wait until there's like one or two people there. One person or two people. Mainly one person. It's usually one person that I end up like spilling my feelings to. You know who you are. Yeah. I think I had another point to add to that, but I can't remember it, so I'll just continue watching this.
I would just put it away, and then I would deal with it myself when the time came to when I would just feel this like emotional pain, and yeah, and I just didn't tell people. And it got to this point where I just broke down and I was crying. I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm not. Yeah, I don't want to tell people because I don't want to be a nuisance. I don't want to feel like a burden to people. I will say, even though I do get these feelings still cropping up, I've never. What I'm talking about there of having a breakdown, I haven't had one of those since. I haven't had this like meltdown to that extent of where I've been a blubbering, crying mess. Because that wasn't a fun night. That really wasn't a fun night. I think part of it was like at that time,
I was going through something as well. Like, something else was happening other than my loneliness. Not going to get into that. But I think that was playing a part in that. But that was rough. That was a rough time. So I think it might have been a bit of a combination of my loneliness and that thing that was happening. But I do have to say that I haven't had a breakdown like that since. Just thought I would need to add that there.
And someone close to me said to me that, and this essentially kind of changed my life in this sense, said to me, if you don't tell people, no one's going to know how you feel.
And that right there still stays true. And that right there is something that honestly does, that more people do need to know. If you don't tell anyone, no one's going to know how you feel. Because those thoughts do come into your mind of like, thoughts come into your mind of, why don't they, you keep it to yourself and thoughts come to you. I keep knocking the microphone. I'm so sorry. Thoughts keep coming to my mind of like, I wish someone would just know how this feels. I wish someone would just understand. I wish someone could just get this, understand how I'm feeling. And the straight up fact is, no one's going to know that you feel that way if you don't tell anyone. And I'm not saying you need to do what I've done and do a video saying this or do what I'm doing now. But it is honestly a thing that like no one's going to know that you feel this way if you don't say something. And whether it be your best friend or your partner or a family member or even a counsellor, anything like that will help, I think. I genuinely do feel that way. And honestly, if you have those thoughts of like, I wish someone would know, think about who you know and say to them. Anyone. Because no one's going to take the piss out of you. No one is. That's the scary thing. I remember being scared of like, I'm gonna seem like a pussy. I'm gonna seem like I'm a wimp. I'm gonna seem like these are genuine thoughts that are going through my mind. I'm gonna seem like a weak person. That was the thing. I'm gonna seem weak, and you're not. You're not. In fact, you're gonna come off stronger. Genuinely. It's gonna be a lot. It's a very admirable thing. Admirable. It's a thing that is cause for admiration, is what I'm trying to say. And I'm not saying that that's what happened with me, but it showed to me. It did feel like a very fearless thing, even though it was quite scary. Yeah, it's not. You're not a weak person. Because you say you're lonely. You're not. Whoever you are, you're not weak for that reason.
And then I thought to myself, wow, that's right. If I keep telling people I'm fine, I'm alright, they're going to just think that I'm okay and I'm fine. No one's a mind reader. No one can just tell. They might have an inkling, but they're not going to like go out their way to to talk to you if you keep saying you're fine and you're okay. And at that moment I realised, like, that's right, if I don't tell anyone... Jesus Christ, sorry about it, it's rain and I just realised it's like pouring down. But yeah, if I don't tell anyone...
The metaphor of the rain coming down while I'm talking about loneliness. You can tell I'm a film student, god damn it.
Massive change. If I don't tell anyone, then...
Look how we responded to me then. Sorry.
I'm not going to have anyone there for me. So I ended up writing a message, typing up a message, and I sent it to the people that I felt had to know.
That's the thing. Don't do whatever feels comfortable for you. If you feel like it's a terrifying thing to say out loud, what to people close to you, how you feel, message. To me, I can't do it. I'm not good at that. I don't know how I did it then. I mean, I did it, but I'm not great at typing. I'm not great at communicating through text. Yeah, that's, yeah.
And I send it to, I'll try and find the thing. I sent it to a group of people. I sent it to like a group as well as like another person that I felt needed to know then and there. I'm not going to read the whole message because this is basically the message. It's just thought on about now. Hang on.
One thing I've just realised there, because I said I sent it to a group chat as well as one other person, another friend of mine. I've just realised I haven't properly talked to or seen that person not long after I messaged him about my loneliness. Part of me thinks I should probably get in contact with him again and just see how he is. I mean, I can't meet up with him anytime soon. So I don't know why I'm thinking that, like, oh, I should like try to meet up with him, because I can't. I can't do that. Yeah. Yeah, I've just thought that. Wow. Okay.
I should cut this, but I'm not going to. But here it is. I sent the message. One reply I got back was, you know where we are if you need us, Oscar.
I need to remember that more. I do need to remember that more. I said, you know where we are if you need us, Oscar. Yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely need, yeah. I do need to remember that more.
Another reply was from, I'll say it, this one was from Gary, who I've known him since July 2006. We've been we've been really good friends since early 2008, so about 11 years now we've been good friends. And he was one of the people I just didn't choose to tell about any of this. And it wasn't anything that he did or anything, but I just felt like he wouldn't want to know or anything like that. And he replied saying, well, wasn't expecting that. You know I'm always here to talk, Oscar. Love you, man. You know that. And even still now, when he first sent that to me, I got like so emotional. I guess it's because I just didn't like think on, and I felt like so bad in the sense of like, why didn't I just tell him? Like, all this time, why didn't I just tell him? Of course he would have been there for me. Of course he would have listened. It was just my own mentality being like, oh, he won't want to listen to that. And it just took that for me to realise, oh my god, of course. Of course he means that. Of course he would have listened. Of course he would be there for me. Why wouldn't have he been? Bleh, sorry. I'm not crying, it's...
First of all, I definitely was about to cry then. I remember that. That's the one thing I remember about this video for the most part, is I was very close to absolutely crying on camera there. And thinking about that, that's me saying there that Gary, a very good friend of mine, known him for over a decade, and even then I still didn't really want to tell him, because I mean, you just heard me say it there. What Gary could have done, he could have felt very offended and felt very like hurt that I didn't feel the need to tell him how I was feeling. But he didn't. He just said, I didn't know that. This is a surprise. I love you. You know that. And I'm always here for you. And that's one thing I do want to say to friends, people who, if someone does come confide with you and tell you that they feel lonely and they've been feeling lonely for a while, and you're good friends with this person, don't make it about you. In the sense, don't get angry with them that they didn't tell you sooner, that they felt this way. Don't be like, well, I would have been there for you. Why didn't you tell me? I could have. Yeah, because that's not going to make them feel any better. Because then you're making it about yourself. And that only confirms fears of how people think about this scenario. People don't talk about it because they're scared that people will get angry at them, or they're scared that people will just get angry that they didn't tell them. So all I'm saying is, I'm not saying that I know anyone that's done that, because I don't. But just consider the other person. Just for that one moment. Because it's, again, most likely if they didn't tell you, it's because they were thinking about you. It's silly, because I look at that and I'm like, why? It's stupid. Why didn't I just tell Gary? But at the time, I was thinking to myself, I'm not going to tell him because I don't want to upset him. That's why. So that's a big reason why people don't express it, is because they feel like they will upset the other person. Like, well, I don't want other people to feel sad for me, so I just won't. So I'll just leave it. That's how that happens. But yeah, continue watching.
It's yeah. And another friend of mine replied saying, always here for you, Oscar, whenever you need me. Never feel that you're a burden.
I think that was Lewis. I think that was Lewis who said that, yeah.
And near enough right after he sent that message,
this, yeah.
He messaged me privately to say to arrange a meetup between himself, myself, and Gary, and I think we need to like just have a meetup in person, and he told me he's always there to support. And the only time he wouldn't be able to message or talk is if he's at work, and I'm like, I get that. And he gave me his phone number because we didn't have each other's phone numbers, and
Forgot about this, yeah.
yeah, and then he like finished it off saying, "Don't feel that you can't talk if you need to." And then another friend of mine who I've known for years.
This is who I was on about earlier. How I need to talk to him again at some point.
Messaged me back saying, it's good that you're opening up. If you're ever feeling lonely, you can always message me and we can go for a coffee or just meet up, mate. It can't be nice feeling that way. And yeah.
Thing is, as well, it's crazy because I remember those messages happening. I just don't remember those messages. And it's crazy. I haven't looked at those messages, I think, since this video. And it's mental because I think that's also important to go back to, is see those messages or hearing about those messages that I received, because while that is really reaffirming, it does truly remind you that people are there for you. Wow, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And it was just such an eye-opening experience to like realise that all I needed to do was just tell people. And then there's so many people out there that who do care. It was kind of like a George Bailey situation in It's a Wonderful Life. I've never felt suicidal. Never in my life. But it's like that moment in It's a Wonderful Life where everything is going wrong for George Bailey and he's contemplating jumping over a bridge and taking his own life, and then a guardian angel comes down, shows him what life would be like if he never existed, and that in fact a lot of people are better off for knowing him. And it wasn't quite the same effect again. I wasn't contemplating suicide, not at all.
I still
I
haven't.
didn't have a guardian angel show me what life would be like if I was...
I think I need a pause there to really make that still clear that I still haven't had those feelings of taking my own life. Still haven't. That's not me bragging or anything. That's me just saying that that's the case. And I think that's also important because I also think some other people think that they don't have those feelings because they're not suicidal, so their feelings aren't as important. Because I think I kind of felt that way to an extent as well, of like, well, it's not that extreme, so it's not necessary to discuss it, but it is still necessary to talk about it. It's still a big help to talk about it. You may not feel like you want to take your life, but it's still important because it still hurts. Feelings like that still really hurt, and it's still a thing that it's important. It does help. It does help to talk about it. and that's not me negating people who do have suicidal thoughts, but that's me saying, like, you're not less important. You're not, like, everyone's important in that scenario. Like, it just generally, just, yeah, don't ever feel like your negative feelings are not worthy of being heard because they're not as extreme as someone else's negative feelings. I hope that sentence made sense.
If I didn't exist. But it was like a thing was like, I went from being like, oh, no one, like everyone, no one's life would be any altered if it wasn't for me. If I wasn't around, no one would really care. And again, I've never contemplated killing myself, never. But like just messaging people and telling them like my struggle, I realize how many people actually do care for me. People that like the last message I read out there, that was from someone that I knew from primary school. We hadn't talked in like a decade, and I just messaged like, this Christmas just gone, and then we got talking a bit, and then we arranged to meet up like 2 months ago, and then we met up, and then we chatted. And even then he said that, like, if you ever feel like that, drop us a message. And it's like, I just didn't think on, really, that there's people out there. And the whole point of this video...
Yeah, before I let myself talk about the point of the video, it's crazy to think that no matter how recent a friendship is, whether it be someone that is that you talk to regularly currently, or if you haven't, or someone that you haven't talked to in so long, and you only recently just got back into contact with them, it's crazy almost how much someone actually like how much people in your life actually care. Whether if you see them often now, or if it's the first time you've seen them in such a long time. People in your life do care. They do. If you've had any sort of connection or friendship with someone at some point, they'll care. Most likely they'll care. Unless if you've done something absolutely awful to them, then maybe they might not care. But maybe don't go to them for help. Or maybe don't go to... Or people who you've had a falling out with. Maybe don't go to them if the last thing you said to them was, I hate you. I don't know. Or go to them if you want to, like... if you want to mend, if you want to rebuild bridges, I don't know, whatever, yeah.
Is kind of like, I want to talk about it for myself, but also maybe for the possibility of someone else who is feeling a similar way. I want to be open about it. I want to, like, share that bit about me. I want to make it more of an obvious thing. Like, that's something that I've dealt with. That's part of me. And I'm getting through it. And it's a thing that a lot of people don't talk about loneliness. They don't. People talk about... substance abuse, they talk about alcoholism, they talk about drug addiction, they talk about cancer and homophobia and racism and depression. And all of those things are incredibly important, and all of them should be talked about. But also, loneliness should be talked about. People just kind of think loneliness is or whatever. Everyone feels that way. Everyone might have a bit of loneliness in them, but not everyone realizes that the true deep feeling of loneliness does hurt. It is painful, and it really sucks.
What I've realized there, me saying that there, it makes it sound like I looking at there, it almost makes it seem like I'm judging different levels of loneliness. What I think now is that people who may seem like, oh, I'm a bit lonely, they're probably underestimating it. I think any form of loneliness is the deep feeling of loneliness that I'm describing. Any form of loneliness, it's that deep feeling. It's whether you choose to express it more or if you choose to hide. I feel the people who hide it more, that's when it comes across more as like, they don't have that bad. I think that that's what I can say about that now, in that sense. And it is crazy almost to think, because also upon doing some research into loneliness, even after this, this time period that we're living in, it is rough. It is rough. I mean, I'm not saying that all the time periods haven't been rough. I think they have. But in terms of this, of the time that we're living in now, I think a lot of people feel that way. But I also think a lot of people don't know how to express it or talk about it. Yeah. I personally turn to film and art. Like a lot of people, I mean, that's the thing. A lot of people, I think that's also out as well, because I've, within the past year, after doing this video, I discovered Sufjan Stevens, and seeing musicians and artists and filmmakers that make films or make music or make some sort of creativity from their loneliness, from their pain, that's a big healing mechanism for me. Not only seeing people do it, but also doing it yourself, writing something that deals with that part of it, because that makes you the controller of that feeling now. Like me, like especially with Untitled, because I did Untitled after this video, so this was before I even did I think this was before I even thought about Untitled. I don't even think I was writing the script for Untitled at this point. I think that, and doing Untitled really did help me within my loneliness and kind of deal with it more and kind of let it sit with me. Yeah, I do think that's, any form of creativity does help within that field. And if you're not a creative person, any form of passion that you have does help with it, I think. Genuinely. Yeah.
And I'm just feeling like the more open that I am about it, the better that I am going to feel. And the less scared I'm going to feel about it. It's nothing to be ashamed of. It's nothing to be like, people are going to see me as pathetic. You're going to feel better for it to like get it off your chest and tell people, this is how I feel. And for a lot of people, this is probably going to be the first time that they're going to hear this is about how I felt.
What's interesting as well, probably for a lot of people, this podcast might be the first time they know about this. And since then, I guarantee there's going to be some people who see this podcast or listen to this podcast and then they're like, wait, that's how Oscar is. And so many things are going to click and make sense to them now. Yes, that's why I made Untitled. Yes, that's what that part of my uni film was referencing. Yeah. It's funny. It's funny then. It's good. There's always going to be discovery. Because with every new person you meet awaits this discovery. Yeah.
I've told family members, not...
I wonder how many of my other family members actually know about this. I actually don't know. Apart from my mum, I haven't discussed it with anyone else. I think a cousin of mine knows. But I'm curious. I wonder how many people actually. That's the thing. Yeah.
All my family, I guess, but I've told family members about this feel. I think that's important to say. I didn't want them finding out through this way. But yeah, like I just feel like this is an important thing for me, and I just feel like more people who feel this way should feel like they can talk about it. And at this moment in time, I'm at a good point in my life. I've been making certain choices and decisions for myself, and someone also said, and people have been telling me, you need to think about yourself. You need to think about how something's going to make you feel, because I have been, for a while now, I've been putting my own feelings to the back and thinking to myself, I've been thinking about other people's feelings before mine. And people haven't been telling me to just disregard how people feel. That's a very important thing. I'm still courteous to people. I'm still cautious about how people feel. But I'm now starting to make decisions whether if I feel about how I feel about the situation, as opposed to thinking of a situation and being like, oh, how is it going to make them feel? And that's what I think needs to be done. If you are feeling lonely in any way, start thinking about yourself. Because a lot of the time, you don't tell anyone because you don't want, like myself, you don't want to be a burden. You don't want to be a nuisance. They got their own issues to deal with. They don't need to hear from mine. If you feel like that you need to talk to someone about it, then talk to someone. Like, I wasn't going to message... I was going to put that message to my main group of friends. I wasn't going to tell the guy that I've known since primary school. I was like, maybe I won't, maybe I shouldn't. We're not that close, really. He probably won't want to hear about that. And then I got told, if you're debating whether you should tell him about it, then tell him. And that's what I'll say to you. If you're thinking to yourself, maybe I should tell that person. Maybe I shouldn't actually tell that person.
Because there's a reason why you thought of that person in the first place. If you have an instinct of like, maybe I should tell that person, nah, I won't. I won't. That's you being scared. The actual thing of you, the first thought of maybe I should tell that person is what you want to happen. But then you go, nah, actually, maybe I don't. That's you. That's the second guessing. That's the scared part of it. The first part of like, maybe I should, that's what you really want. In that scenario, I think, in terms of trying to find, in terms of trying to like, confide in someone. Yeah. Because there's a reason why you thought of that person to begin with.
You're going to feel a lot better for it. And a lot of people experience different types of loneliness. They're not all this same experience of mine. Some people experience loneliness where they are alone and they are lonely. Like, they don't have really any friends. They don't really have any family. It's just them. And I can't imagine how that must feel. But it's a thing where, like, find someone to talk to. What are your hobbies? What do you like doing? Do you like playing sports? Invest in maybe going to a sports club or something. Do you like, I don't know. Do you like any, just go do something. There's apps that, like Patuk and Bumble, where you can try to meet up with, platonically meet up with people. Even if it's just a little bit of a chat on the phone, like just a little message. And that's it, really. That's a good start.
Yeah, that's a tough one to that's definitely a tough one now. Because even these quote unquote solutions that I'm talking about there, they're not even really solutions. I think they sometimes can maybe hurt a bit more, in a sense, because you almost have this expectation that you're going to end up talking to someone for a while, and then a conversation starts, and then it just cuts off, and then you start doubting yourself a bit more, I think. Yeah, I'm not sure about that anymore. I'm not sure about the whole app thing, because that's a very give or take situation, that is. And me saying that now, oh, just go out. Obviously, you can't do that now. And if I'm being perfectly honest, I don't have a solution. I don't. I can tell here I was trying to like think of like a thing to be like, here's my big thing to tell you all about what you can do to start not feeling lonely. But at the end of the day, I don't know what I'm talking about with that. I don't have the answers. I don't have the answers one bit. It's not a thing that I know what to say in that scenario. And especially in the times that we are in now, I don't know. Be online, I guess. I think there's certain things out there that the government are kind of doing now. I have no idea. I think I read something about like some online thing recently, but I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Just be open, talk to people. I'm not sure how many people this video will reach, or if it will reach anyone, really. I'm doing this so I can look loneliness in the face and go like, no, this can't happen anymore. So what am I doing? I'm making this video. I want to make it a public thing. I didn't want to post like a big status on Facebook because, yeah, why? I'm doing this because it's like, I'm not doing it to be like, look at my problems. I'm doing it in a sense to be like, this is what I've had to deal. This is how I've felt. This is what I've dealt with. And I'm not hiding it anymore. And I'm not going to hide things about myself anymore. I'm going to be open. I'm going to be myself. And I didn't really feel like I had a right to do that in a sense, because it's like, well, what have I got to hide? I'm a straight white male. I don't have to open myself up about my sexuality, because heterosexual people don't get scrutiny near enough as much as the LGBTQ. I'm white. I don't suffer any racism like other ethnicities do. I'm a man. I'm not a subject to sexism. So I haven't felt like I've really had anything to really hide. But I've had this loneliness. And it's not sad. It's not pathetic. I'm not a wimp for feeling this way. I'm not less of a man for talking about my feelings. I'm a human.
That's the thing as well. I think I'm obviously loneliness isn't subject to just men. It's subjected to all genders. But this specific point that I'm talking about that I'm going to make is regarding loneliness within males. I do think there is this stigma that does need to get taken out about, if you're a dude, then you're fine. You are sorted in life. And that's not the case. And if you're a dude, then you can't feel these feelings because those are emotions and you're not supposed to have those. You're a male. That's not true at all. I do think it's starting to get breaking down, but I'm still seeing examples of people feeling that like, if you're a dude, then you've got nothing to worry about or complain about. Not necessarily complain, but you've got nothing to like feel bad about, and that only makes someone push those feelings back further. That's all that does. Scrutiny like that just makes people not share their feelings more. And you need to be, and people just need to be more accepting. Because, yeah. If you're a male who feels any form of loneliness or just hurt, just if you feel any form of hurt, you are not a worse person you are not less of a man because you feel lonely. You're not. Okay? All right.
I have feelings and I'm opening up about them to make it easier for myself. And hopefully, if anyone else is watching this who is feeling similarly, similarly, can't say the word, who is feeling similar, hopefully this has helped in some way. Yeah, I didn't necessarily plan to make this the first proper video on my solo channel, but it's an important topic that needs to be talked about, not just by me, but by people. People out there need to. They need to be able to talk about this. And I'm going to leave a link in the description for a video that was uploaded about a month ago about loneliness, which is a cool little animation, and it's packed with really good information about loneliness, and it covers the more broad sense of loneliness, as opposed to just my experience with it. It covers the overall sense of loneliness.
Any links that I'm talking about in this video, they will also be in the description of this video as well, and the podcast links as well. So, yeah, just so you know.
As well as if you're in the UK, if you're in the UK and you don't feel like you have anyone to talk to, find your local Mind charity and go to there. I haven't done that, but I feel like I don't need to, at least not right now. But if you're really in that dark situation, and this situation can cause... It didn't with me. It never crossed my mind, but with a situation like this, it can cause suicidal thoughts. And just... if you feel like you got no one to talk to, find your local Mind. And just... even though there might not be someone there for you now, there will be someone out there for you. There will be someone there to support you. You need... but within that type of situation, you need to push yourself to make yourself more, to try to help yourself. And that's what I've been doing. And so yeah, that's been this video. I don't really know how to end it. I'm not going to ask... I'm not going to make anything to be like, share this video. It would be appreciative, but I'm not doing this to get the likes or the subscribers. I'm doing this to voice my experience and to try to help myself in this scenario. And at the moment, and as of right now, I've been doing good. I've been doing good. But I'm also going to try to get better. And hopefully anyone out there will feel the same way to try to get better. Final words. Be open. Don't be afraid. You're not less of a person for having these emotions. You're not, and you're definitely not less of a person for talking about them. And that's it. Thank you.
Yeah, so that's that video. Let me just make it less derpy. There you go, that's fine. Yeah. Yeah, and it's interesting there hearing me say that about, and I'm making this video to look loneliness in the face. No more. I think I said in that. No more. I will not let you take me down anymore. And I think also there was a point in the video as well where I said, and I'm getting better. And I think at that point I had this thought perception of thinking to myself, oh, there's going to be this peak now, this upwards. Everything's up from here now, and it isn't. It goes up and then you go down again slightly, then you go up again, then you go down. It's peaks and valleys. That's what it's ebbs and flows is the feeling of loneliness. And it doesn't get cured. But I do have to say, ever since I did that video and ever since I kind of just made it like, hey, I know what, hey, I've had that feeling. I know how that feels. And I'm open about talking about it. That makes it better. That makes it more manageable because when I do get the feelings, I know what they are like. And I'm not scared if anyone wants to know to tell them how I feel. Yeah. So it's also a bit of a different situation now in the sense of, obviously at the time of recording that video, COVID-19 didn't happen. So there was more opportunity just to go out there. And yet I don't have the solution to that problem. But what I will say is that as much as I kind of think the internet's kind of toxic, and it is abysmal, it is at times, there is a lot of good to be had with the internet, and a lot of that good is also online video chats, whether it be Skype or Zoom or Hangouts or whatever you may use for that whole thing. But I haven't seen Gary and Lewis in person for a few months now, but it really does help seeing them on Skype and talking to them through that way, especially in this time. So use that to your advantage. FaceTime, there's another thing as well. Use the technology that is in possession that you have to keep contact with people. And yeah, I'll leave the link to this video in the description as well. I mean, I don't know why, because yeah, but I mean, you've just seen it anyway, but you know, if you want to actually go to that video anyway. And of course, as I said earlier, links that I did mention about that video about loneliness and the mind link, that's also in the description below. And I know this was kind of a heavy video, but let's not try to make it a daunting subject, I think, as well. I think that's also a thing that needs to be said, not to make it such a type of feeling almost. Try to make it an easier experience, and that's probably not going to happen either. That'll have its ebbs and flows. I'll look at this video in a year's time and think to myself, Jesus Christ, as if he said that. I don't know, but yeah, but yes, yeah, like that video, I still don't know how to end videos. So thanks for watching / listening. And I'm just going to End the video now. Bye.